There's a football program that is currently not a part of the NCAA or any collegiate division, is on a 32-game losing streak, and does not have a home football field or practice field. It is a program that has been wrapped up in scandal after scandal, even becoming known as the Bishop Sycamore of college football. Players have been lied to, practices have been held without water or athletic trainers, and the leadership just does not see the red flags with anything going on, and if they do, they're just ignoring it. Which I don't know what is worse. This is the story of the sketchiest college football program. This is the story of Lincoln University, Oakland, the Oaklanders. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know which football program you want me to cover in the future in the comment section below. I first came across the story of Lincoln University, the campus in Oakland, a few months back when Touchback Sports covered the controversy around the school. He did a fantastic job with his video on the topic, talks about niche football topics like me, so I recommend checking out his channel if you have not already. The story of Lincoln was so crazy, but I did not really think much of it a few weeks after watching the video by Touchback. Then, I was working on my HBCU National Championship video. When looking into Prairie View A&M schedule, Lincoln's name popped up. I decided I wanted to see if things have gotten better, and if this football program was still as sketchy as it seemed. It's seemingly gotten worse, with more people coming forward to talk about what is truly going on with this program. I realized it was finally the time for me to cover the story. One goal with this channel for me is to be a resource for young athletes who are looking to get a shot to play college football. It is why years ago I did my series talking about the differences between different levels of NCAA college football, JUCO football, and NAIA football. There are a lot of bad actors in college recruitment that want to steal your money and take advantage of the dreams of playing collegiate ball by making all these crazy promises. I always knew about the dirty recruiting services that promise getting your film in front of Nick Saban and other big coaches at the time. Fun fact, if it seems too good to be true, it usually is when it comes to college football and more so in life. Never expected a football program to stoop to that same level, but we have found that with the Lincoln Oaklanders. Let's go over a little history and the backstory to the creation of this football program back in 2021. Lincoln University, Oakland is a school that usually has less than 200 undergraduate students a year. It has been around for over 100 years, but it's just a single building in downtown Oakland that is a former insurance company building. The school was mainly one that was used by international students. The school president, Mikhail Brodsky, is a Russian native who also owns a bathhouse in San Francisco. He also does hold 2 advanced degrees. Now, just based off of what I've shared so far, this whole thing already seems off the rockers insane. After COVID hit in 2020, the overseas applications to the school plummeted and Brodsky wanted to figure a way to boost enrollment once again. He told USA Today back in 2024, "Nothing worked but sports. I wanted local students, so we needed to give something for them to come." Later that fall, they announced they hired Desmond Gums to be their program's first football coach and the athletic director. Gums was an interesting choice, and I just want to share a few words that Josh Peters and Tom Shad wrote in February of 2024. Over the past 2 decades, he's been hit with foreclosure proceedings, bankruptcy filings, and civil lawsuits over allegedly unpaid bills. But none of that stopped Gums from landing the job as head football coach and athletic director at Lincoln in 2020, despite no apparent prior experience in college sports, or stop him during Lincoln's 2022 season from spearheading a boxing event that featured Terrence Crawford, who is widely considered the sport's top pound-for-pound fighter, or stop him from working with Suge Knight on a potential TV series chronicling the life of the imprisoned co-founder of Death Row Records. Gums was a high school football coach since the 1990s. His work with the entertainment industry included directed films such as Straight Out in 2003, Rude Boys, The Jamaican Don in 2003, and Don't Blink in 2007. Following the real estate crash in 2008, Gums said he was completely broke. In 2011, he started Stellar Preparatory High School, which saw 10 players go on to play college football according to the website. In 2021, they played a game against Half Moon Bay with only 16 kids and lost 47-14. Asked how he paid for the school and provided free education despite going broke during the real estate crash, Gums simply replied, 3 letters, God. According to USA Today and the California Department of Education, the school closed at the end of June in 2023, but Gums says it's still open. In 2021, he was brought on as a volunteer head coach since the athletic department would not be able to afford to pay him. They also hired NBA legend Gary Payton to be their head basketball coach. With the addition of the sports programs and the 85 new male student athletes, enrollment jumped from 88 students to 177 students in 2 years. The school's athletic ambitions are far greater than its financial resources, and the school hit an accreditation issue excluding them from the 2024 federal financial aid program. Peyton was forced to pay for the team's uniforms, sneakers, and meals on trips, telling USA Today, "I invested some hard-earned money, which I didn't expect to invest. My frustrations are big here. I'm not going to lie to you." The football players would end up paying for stuff out of pocket for themselves, but we will get to that in a minute. The Oaklanders would take the true moniker of playing anybody, anytime, anywhere. Things started off strong though with their first two games. They would lose a close game to Whitworth 31-29 and got their first win in school history against Willamette 34-9. Both programs are Division III programs. Then the season would turn into a complete disaster. 61-13 to FCS Stephen F. Austin, 75-0 to UT Permian Basin, 92-0 to Central Washington, and 72-6 to Western Colorado, the last three of which were Division II programs. In their last 7 games, they lost by an average score of 65.5 to 8.9, their closest game of the season coming against Texas A&M Kingsville 51-21. They improved in 2022 going 2-8, with them beating Division III Hilbert 70-0, Division II Bluefield 20-17. Every other game, they were blown out. 52-7 to Texas A&M Commerce, 66-7 to Grand Valley State, 43-6 to St. Thomas, 48-6 to Portland State, 32-7 to Texas Southern, and 55-0 to Southern Utah. You take out their lone D3 matchup, their win over Hilbert, they would lose by an average score of 46.4 to 8. Things would get worse in 2023, as they would go 0-12, losing by an average score of 38.3 to 8.3. They played a majority of their schedule against FCS teams, including Lamar, Cal Poly, Texas Southern, Tennessee State, Kennesaw State, Southern Utah, and Florida A&M, while also playing Adams State, Western Oregon, and New Haven of the Division II level, and the College of Idaho at the NAIA level. Their 13-game losing streak would be 24 by the end of the 2024 season, and they got destroyed in every game. 66-6 to Northern Arizona, 88-12 to West Georgia, and 66-0 to Mercyhurst. They played a schedule consisting of FCS, Division II, and NAIA schools, losing by an average score of 53.2 to 8.2. It was an absolute disaster, but was only going to get worse in 2025. This season, they would go 0-8, and after losing to Arkansas Pine Bluff 34-8 on September 13th, they would not score again the rest of the season, being outscored 287-0 in the last 5 games, or an average score of 57.4 to 0. They lost 90-0 to Idaho State, a game they were down 69-0 at half, and they shortened the second half to 8-minute quarters, and 68-0 to Northeastern State. On the season, they lost by an average score of 54.5 to 3.25 against FCS and Division II programs. When you go to Lincoln's football page and click on the schedule, everything is wiped from the past, and it just shows a screen saying they will not be playing any games in 2026. That is hard to believe because I cannot imagine the amount of money they are making with these bye games, as that is typically what happens when you play much bigger opponents like FCS and Division II programs. I wonder where the money is going, as the school claims Gums is a volunteer coach, and he still owes a lot of money due to some financial issues according to USA Today. This program never played a home game in 5 seasons, and only played 1 game in the state of California. Gums told SF Gate earlier this year, "Our season is not being measured on wins and losses. I think our season is measured on growth. When we first started, we didn't have a football field, we didn't have a training room, and we didn't have anything. When we started, the idea was to get to this destination." Gabe Fernandez wrote in his piece earlier this week, "But to Gums, it's more about the journey and less about the state of the path the Oaklanders have traveled on. He sees this program as a land of opportunity, one that could provide dreams for kids who can't find them anywhere else. Without the institutional or financial backing, or even the oversight of an athletic department in the NCAA or other college sports associations." According to several former Lincoln players who spoke with SF Gate, Gums has effectively sold players on the idea of being willing to sacrifice just about everything, their health, their comfort, even their dignity, to keep Lincoln going. That brings me to the controversies around the players. A lot of players have come out to speak out against the program. Former defensive lineman Elliott Johnson told SF Gate, "They got me there on lies, to be honest with you. They're saying that we're going to take over the Raiders facilities after a year, things like that. So I'm going there with the hopes and expectations of us having a better year after my first year playing there." USA Today reported the program provided a lack of water at practice, hazardous red-eye travel itineraries, barely receiving any food from the program, and inadequate medical and training services. The only treatment injured players could really get from the team was taping their ankles, and seeking outside medical opinions would offend the coaching staff. Others learned that their injuries would be turned around and used as motivational fodder from the coaches. They had to cancel multiple games this year due to mounting injuries. Players were told if you love football enough, you figure a way to play. Players played basically on no sleep due to the red-eye travel. They bussed to Oregon and Idaho games as well. SF Gate went on to say, one benefit to all of the travel for the lopsided loss was that sometimes opposing teams would provide training and medical staff that Lincoln didn't always have on hand. After all that, players would still sometimes have to find their own rides to and from the airport, and that's if they didn't get left behind, like Johnson said he did for one game in Michigan in 2022. Former kicker-punter Stephen Ernest described them as the Bishop Sycamore of college football in 2024. Former wide receiver Shane McGinnis explained it's hard to go into detail because some of this stuff is actually embarrassing to talk about. He kind of made us feel like less than men sometimes. We're grown men, and we just needed certain things. As men, we need certain things or we're not going to be able to work. Lincoln sold the idea of playing against Division I teams and proving you belong and that they were going to be playing games at the Oakland Coliseum in the future. They basically sold players on the fact that they were going to be a Division I program and they could be building blocks for something great. The school is neither an NCAA program nor an NAIA program and gets through a loophole as the university has accreditations with the Western Associate of Schools and College Senior College and University Commission known as the WSCUC, which is set up for review in February of 2026, which is maybe why they don't have a schedule in 2026 yet, as the Oaks qualify as accountable opponent for NCAA teams, but if they lose that accreditation, they won't be. The program should be playing a Division III schedule and should be compared to teams at that level, but Gums would rather make excuses of why things are the way they are because they don't have the same money as Ohio State and other blue bloods. Reality check, you ain't even close and it's dangerous to think that you are that close. They finally have a real athletic trainer as their former one was a former orthopedic surgeon who went to prison recently for making a false statement on an insurance document. The team is now practicing at the former Oakland Raiders practice facilities and they are looking to possibly find a permanent home field to play their second ever game in the state of California, but Gums still believes they will play in the Oakland Coliseum one day. Punter Owen Meister spoke in defense of his coach, claiming a lot of the reports are disgruntled former players, with him telling SF Gate, a lot of players did not play a single snap of football here, but all they did was bitch and moan the whole time about a problem that wasn't even there. A lot of those situations are people eager and hungry to go and want to play college football, but they don't want to do the back stuff that it really takes to get there. That being said, Guinness was the team's leading receiver in multiple games throughout the 2023 season. The previous other players I mentioned found homes at Southern and Sacramento State, according to SF Gate, and found playing time there. The Oaks don't have to follow the same rules as NCAA schools, as they have players who graduated high school in the mid-2010s on their roster, still playing with one player celebrating his 27th birthday in the 2024 season, and still playing on the 2025 team. Players are getting stuck there too because Lincoln's credits are not easily transferable. Gums acknowledges that as things currently are, Lincoln cannot sustain itself financially as a football program. Lincoln's tax filings from last year show a net loss of $1.1 million. The hope from Gums is that Silicon Valley can help fill the gaps. He explained, I think we need help. I want Uber just right down the street to help us. Help the domestic student here in Oakland. I want Clorox that's here to help us. I want Kaiser to help us. Our families have been paying into Kaiser all these years who are here that need help. These are students. These aren't guys that are out doing bad stuff. We're playing sports and trying to get an education. Where's all the help? We're in Silicon Valley. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. Help us. Gums blasted the USA Today article to SF Gate earlier this season, but according to SF Gate, he just would not give a concrete answer of what is going on. Hernandez went on to say, throughout the rest of the conversation, Gums repeatedly blasted the article and the journalists who wrote it, insisting that their reporting has nothing to do with the story of Lincoln. He said what was written was a non-story, filled with a whole bunch of lies that were able to get published because the internet is unregulated. Ironically, the excuse Gums used as a shot at the article can be considered the same reason Lincoln can operate their football program the way they do, because they are unregulated by not being a part of the NCAA or NAIA. You know, at the end of the day, I hope Lincoln can turn things around and achieve their dream plan they have laid out. I think it's good to create more opportunities for more players. If someone connected to the school sees this video, I just ask that y'all schedule games closer to your program and realize the level of football you're at with the budget you have. Playing these games we are losing by an average score of 60-8 is not good. It's not safe and will only lead to bad things coming out of the program. Look at 2 of your 3 wins. They were against Division III programs. Schedule more D3 games and lower level D2 games if you want to see if you can compete at the D2 level. The FCS money bag games are just not where the program is right now. Maybe you could do that down the road, but you need to build the program up first. What do you think? Will Lincoln football survive and grow to where it hopes to be one day? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.